Hi, folks. This is a very big area of the law. This is marriage-based petitions, part 4 of Pathways to a Green Card. I'm very excited to be speaking with you about this because this is a very large area of immigration law that many people hear about. They may have known people who got through because a spouse had sponsored him or her. Now, what you need to know about this area of the law is that it is very, very good at sniffing out fraud. And in fact, that is what they're looking for. The government is looking for fraud. So when you submit your petition for a green card based on a marriage, you've got to ensure and make sure that you're submitting the petition based on a bona fide marriage, a marriage that you entered into for love, and not to circumvent immigration laws, not to get around it, because the government is very good at sniffing that out. Now, you may say to yourself, well, I know someone who got through after he or she paid $5,000 or $10,000 for someone to marry him or her, and so why can't I do the same thing? Well, you may not be so lucky as to get away with it. So my recommendation to everyone watching this is don't do it. Do it for love. Do it only if you have a true and bona fide relationship. Now, let's set that aside because, again, penalties, major penalties, criminal penalties are slapped on people who try to get around immigration laws. So you don't want to be in that camp. Now, let's say you have a true marriage. You love the person and that person wants to file for you. Now, you can be overseas or you can be here in the U.S. That person can still move forward with your petition. Once your petition goes through, you may be called in as a couple. If you're here in the U.S., you may be called in for an interview. During that interview, you'll be asked various questions about your life together, and the officer is going to want to know that it is a real marriage. Now, let's say you've gotten beyond that point and you've been married less than 2 years at the time that your green card is approved. The government will only give you a 2-year green card with an expiration date on it. And this is called conditional residence. 90 days before that expiration date on that card, you are allowed to file the I-751 petition to remove those conditions on your green card so that you can get the 10-year green card. But during that time, when you've submitted that I-751, the government is going to ask you for a lot of evidence, a lot of documents to prove that you and your partner have a genuine or a bona fide marriage. Now, what are they looking for? What are some of the things that can prove bona fide marriage? You may be thinking to yourself, oh, well, we've submitted our marriage certificate, we've submitted photographs, we've submitted an affidavit or a letter or two from a family or a friend of the family. Shouldn't that be enough? And we've also submitted a joint bank account statement, which we hardly use. There's like $50 in that account, and we've held on to it for 2 years, but still there's only $50 in that account. Shouldn't that be enough? No. No, no, no. The government is looking for substantial evidence to prove that you and your partner are in this marriage, have entered into the marriage for real, with the intent from day one to have a real marriage. So what are they looking for? Here's how I've summarized it into 3 areas. The first thing is they're looking to see that you guys share a life together. What does a life together look like? It looks like you guys going to church together, certainly that you live together, although you don't have to live together, but cohabitation is important. You guys may have a child together. You guys are sharing holidays and major family functions. You guys are communicating all the time. You're submitting telephone records to show that you guys text each other every day, all day, maybe not all day, but all the time. You're communicating. Your family and friends are submitting letters of support saying that they know your love story. They attended your wedding. husband, they eat with you on Sundays, and that your marriage is true. So that's the first section, okay, that they're looking for. You guys share a life together. Your wife may have changed her last name or hyphenated her last name. So that's the first category. The second is they're looking for joint ownership of assets. Do you guys share a car together? Do you have a car note? Do you pay rent together? Do you have a mortgage together in both of your names? Do you have any insurances together? Car insurance, health insurance, life insurance? Is your wife the beneficiary of on your pension, on your 401k plan? They're looking for those kinds of things, right? And then the third category of documents is they're looking to see whether you guys have co-mingled your assets. Joint bank account, yes, that's good. But are you using the account? Are you making regular transactions in that checking account or savings account? They want to they know how to sniff this thing out. So you want to provide evidence to show that you two have really come together and commingled your assets. Now, so you've submitted all of that to prove that you have a bona fide marriage. And at that point, you may get another, if you do it the way that I'm talking about here, you may not get a request from them for additional evidence, because the way I handle it, I really put this thing together, pad it, not just padding it, but I really provide the evidence that the government is looking for to show that your marriage was bona fide. Now, let's say the evidence goes in, they call you in for another interview, you go into the interview, it's determined that you have a true and genuine marriage. They will then approve the 10-year green card. Woohoo! But what will happen if during the 2-year period, during your first 2 years of marriage, you guys separate? Or there's domestic violence or a divorce? What then? It's not over until it's over, okay? What I mean by that is that a waiver is available for people who want to file for the 10-year green card without their spouse. Waivers available, but you're going to need a lawyer to help you with that. Now, lastly, again, based on the last video that I had published last week, you can either do an adjustment of status process if your partner or your spouse is here in the U.S., or that person will have to do the consular process abroad, go on that interview, pass their scrutiny, and get their immigrant visa there and travel to the United States. So I know that I've covered a lot, and this really, believe it or not, is just a summary. It gets very complicated and tricky when you're talking about spousal petitions. Do it right, do it for love, and only love. Thank you very much for watching, and as usual, like, comment, and share this video with other people. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.